Come on, you miserable fathead, get that badass truck out of my way! Can't beat me on the grade, can't beat me on the grade! Welcome, huge movie fanatic Nate, stopping on by with, you guessed it, another retro VHS showcasing video. Today I will be showcasing what I can only assume is, if not the, definitely one of the first North American VHS releases of Steven Spielberg's first movie. Made for television initially, and then they filmed more to actually put it in the theater, more footage to put it in the theater. Duel. You miserable. Taking a look very briefly at the VHS label, we can see copyright 1982, MCA Video Cassette Incorporated, all rights reserved, and we had to resort to the cassette label itself for the release year of this title because the release year is featured nowhere on the cover. And as you can see, unfortunately, I don't have a normal full box. I've got a former video store rental that was cut down for this clear clamshell release, but at least it's better than nothing. Taking a closer look at what's left of the front cover, Video Cassette Incorporated, MCA, and when you have that Video Cassette Incorporated going over the MCA like a rainbow, you know that this is an old, one of the early VHS releases, so it might be, don't quote me, but if it's not the first release, which it very well might be, it's definitely one of them. And under that we can see Dolby system. I don't imagine this would be a hi-fi, no hi-fi, maybe before the hi-fi days, but definitely obviously not before the Dolby system. That would be for noise reduction, I guess, days. As we can see, little tagline here, the most bizarre murder weapon ever used. And then in quotes there, Duel in bright red thick letters, directed by Steven Spielberg. Now I don't know if this is like a theatrical poster or a poster for the newspaper, for the television showing of it, or what, or if it's like MCA did this, but this weird Dennis Weaver head on, which it looks like it's on top of the truck. I thought it's almost like, you know what, that's probably the poster with him just like his back to us and the truck coming at him, but this addition, I don't know if this addition of his head is, from the poster, or it just looks so weird. It looks like just a fake head on top of, a huge fake head on top of the truck. But it just looks weird, don't it? And taking a look at the only surviving spine of this release, the right spine, is some goop. This is definitely showing its age. I don't know if there was some tape on there that's probably deteriorated into this whatever brown toxic sludge looking stuff, but you can barely make it through there on the make out through there on the top of the spine, the MCA whatever logo. I can read printed. Let's see, you can see like all rights reserved, printed in USA. Yeah, it's hard to read through that. I would imagine the spine was red like the front cover, but probably faded in the sun most likely. The Duel logo there, thick white, but I would imagine it was originally thick red destroyed and made white by being in the sun for hours and hours, day after day after day. Further down the spine, for some reason, there's a white dot there, probably indicated something to the video store. Maybe a genre dot or something. Dolby system and the Dolby system logo, VHS, catalog number 55096. Taking a look at the back, on the top we can see more of that slimy muck, former tape, tape residue. And we can see once again in glorious red the thick ass font of Duel. And a couple of very scary, sinister stills from the movie also featured. Color, 90 minutes. An auto-traveling businessman is suddenly menaced on the highway by a huge diesel truck. Although he can never see the obviously psychopathic driver of the truck, he soon realizes that this guy is out to kill him. A minor classic. It's not a major classic, it's a minor classic of the action genre, which helped launch the career of director Steven Spielberg. It's interesting how they kind of downplay. That's really not something you should do with a release, is like downplay it. It's almost like they're apologizing for this little movie. It's a minor classic. What the fuck? That's really funny. And as you can see underneath there, we got some in smaller print, a little bit of abbreviated credits there, and underneath that you can see this video cassette has been recorded with Dolby B type noise reduction, and and is compatible for playback with all VHS equipment. During playback, set Dolby B NR switch to the on position. That will, I guess, reduce the hiss of the non-hi-fi VHS cassette. Underneath that you can see your standard all-important warning copyright information, and kind of very creatively positioned around the Rainbow Video Cassette Incorporated MCA 70. You got an address here, 70 Universal City Plaza, Universal City, California 91608. Dolby, and the double D symbol our trademark of Dolby Laboratories Licensing Corporation. But as you can see, with the exception of copyright 1971 Universal City Studios Incorporated, that's the copyright for the film's release, not the release of the VHS. Taking a look at the video cassette itself, we see the standard. I wonder if, I can only assume MCA Home Video just did this from day one. You've got your white label with the blue MCA video, let's see, MCA video cassette. I'm just trying to, it must be MCA Video Cassette Incorporated must be the spiel on the watermark. But probably since day one they did this. White label, blue watermark, Duel, once again the rainbowish, shape of the Video Cassette Incorporated. MCA, you're probably supposed to read it like this, MCA Video Cassette Incorporated. And we've also got the Dolby System logo. Under that, your FBI logo and all-important copyright warning information. And finally, down at the bottom corner of the label, printed in USA. Taking a look at the spine, we can see once again, white label, blue watermark, Duel in the same font, but it's black on white. Bottom of the spine, once again, MCA Video Cassette Incorporated, copyright 1982. And the rest is readable there, printed in USA. Definitely have a soft spot in my heart for Duel, having grown up with this from a very young age as being a kid. Really, really fun camp stuff. And incidentally, there is actually a difference between like the DVD and the Blu-ray and the 4K. Is it on 4K yet, or is it coming out? There's some kind of special 4K release coming out, which is actually really kind of cool, but not having 4K, I won't be buying it. But it's like got some, it's like a special release with like lobby card reproductions and all this and that kind of stuff. But what I was getting at is that there's like at least two different versions of the movie. I'm not talking about like TV versus theatrical. Oh, maybe that's where the two versions are differ. But on home video, like if you just got, because normally on home video the theatrical version is the one that's obviously presented on home video, whether it's Laserdisc. I've got the 1990s Laserdisc of this release, or VHS or whatever. But I think this early VHS actually has some like alternate different versions of lines, either that or additional lines that aren't in the more recent versions. So I'm having not seen this version for a long time. This older version, I can't remember exactly, but it's when it's the latter half of the film after everything is going bad and he's talking to himself. There's just some line that I think is in this older version that is not in the more recent like DVD or Laserdisc or even 90s VHS versions, or obviously Blu-ray or 4K. Well, I can't comment on 4K because I haven't seen it if it is on 4K. If it isn't, it's coming out on 4K. Whatever, but what I'm trying to say, and just going on and just blabbing as often as I do, as much as I do often, is that this early VHS version I think has a line or two that is not found in the more recent releases, and like I say, that might be attributed to like TV version versus theatrical version, whatever. But I guess that pretty much does it for the showcasing. Hope you guys enjoyed. Thanks so very much for watching, And as always, we'll catch you on the next video.